Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Pilot Custom A23 with the signature nib. I have my other Pilot Custom A23s here to compare the signature nib with. I got this pen about a month ago or so. I bought 3 pens from Atlas Stationers, and this was one of them. So in that video, in the unboxing video, I promised to do a follow-on review of the pen. So I'm going to start with the Custom A23 with the signature nib. So I'm going to do some writing samples and compare them to these 3. So I have the signature nib here. I have a broad nib, a medium, and a fine. I'm just going to write a little bit here. The Custom A23 signature nib feels like a combination of a stub and a broad nib to me. So when you make vertical lines, you get pretty thick lines, but the horizontal lines are fairly normal, like medium-sized horizontal lines. So this is the nib up close. You can see there, it's a little dirty, but there's the nib. It's a 14 karat gold nib, just like the others. And there's the feed and the grind you see there. Some thick tipping on it. So, pen is the Pilot Custom 823. So last night I was really proud of my presentation here. I had my nice circles drawn. And I turn my back for a minute, and you see it's run there, but that's actually drool, dog drool. And you can see here there's some pages missing. They were pretty much chewed beyond recognition, so I cut them out. This was a brand new notebook. This is Midori paper. Midori paper is new to me. You can see there it doesn't bleed through. But yeah, it's pretty much torn up, but it's still in good shape, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. It didn't cost too much. It was $11 for this notebook, and then I got the cover to go with it. But I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So back to the pen. This is the signature, 14 karat. And we have in here Poly Roshizuku Yamabudo. So you can see there the thick lines that it puts down. So I'll draw some vertical lines. And then you can see the horizontal lines. And this is a as you can see, very wet pen. And reverse, it's okay in reverse. It's a little light, but it does work in reverse. And I think this is a pretty good combination with the signature nib and the Yamabudo. Good paper here. There's no bleed through, although there's still wet there, and no bleed through from the drool. So that's good. So that's a signature nib, and I'll show some more writing samples with this. So I want to move on to the broad nib. So this is the broad. Also has a generous amount of tipping. You can get in focus. Again, same 14 karat gold. So again, we have a Pilot Custom A23. And this is a broad, 14 karat. And this is Birmingham Pen Company, Angelfish. Just a nice sheening ink. That's a nice red sheen. And this broad feels like a typical medium to me, and a normal non-palette or non-sailor pen. Not so great in reverse, a little scratchy, and really doesn't do anything reverse. But that's the broad. Very nice. I do like that broad nib. And we have my favorite. Again, Pilot Custom 823. This is the medium, 14 karat. And this is Pilot Iroshizuku Ajisai. Just super smooth. Very scratchy in reverse, but it does work in reverse. That's the medium nib. Not as much tipping, of course, as the others. There's the feed. And lastly, we have the fine. And this is Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. Bounty nib. It's pretty decent in reverse, I'll say. So those are all the pen and ink combinations. You see the angelfish has really nice shading and sheen to it. All of them really have nice shading to them. And that's the Ajisai and the Konpeki. So my favorites of the four of these, I would say definitely by far the medium is my favorite. But my next favorite, very close second, is the fine. And I enjoy writing, doing transcriptions with this pen and journaling. I just find the fine points for me just much easier to control and to write with. I think the broad and the signature they're both nice. I would say the broad is probably my third favorite. The signature is probably my least favorite to write with, but probably my most favorite to doodle with. This is a very good pen to doodle with, to do stuff like this with, because it's just so broad and it just flows so nicely. So it's a good doodling pen. I wouldn't journal with this or do any transcriptions or anything with this. So I'll do some more close-up comparisons of the line weights. So the signature, you can see there. It's nice line weight. You see it's quite a bit thinner with the horizontal lines. And the broad. Very nice bouncy nib. Not nearly as thick and as wet as the signature nib. And next we have the medium. The medium and the broad aren't that different, just a little bit. And then the fine, considerably thinner. And just for me, it's just much easier to control. As far as writing with the left hand, my left hand enjoys the fine point more than any of the others. The medium with the left hand. My left hand also likes this too. I just have so much more control with the fine point. Broad. just harder for me to control. If that makes any sense. I'm not sure if that makes any sense to anyone, but for me, it's just, I just seem to have a much better grip on the, and it's not very comfortable, the signature nib. I just seem to have a bit more grip and control when I use the fine points. So this is with my French transcriptions, and this is the 823 signature nib. I said it's nice, but it's too thick. It's very, very nice and smooth, but for this, it's just too thick for me. Angelfish and the broad, very nice. Looks very nice on the paper. Not quite as thick as the signature, but still a little bit too thick for these purposes, I think. And then there's the medium, just nice. It's getting better, but for me, just using the fine point, it just works better for transcriptions and journaling. But they're all very nice nibs. It just depends on what you're going to use them for. And I have my Yoseka nib log. So here we have the signature nib. Not on this paper, it's not very wet, but it is a wet. And I said it's thick and super smooth. It has a line weight of about 0.75 millimeters. But all in all, it's a very nice pen. You can see it's very blocky, stub-like, vertically. But then it thins out a little bit horizontally. And then we have the broad here with the angelfish. And this has about a 0.7 millimeter line weight. And my notes are smooth, thick, and nice. And I said it's a good pen and ink combo. See that beautiful blue and red there. And I wanted to talk about the wetness on this paper. So here we go. The medium has a 0.45 millimeter line weight. And as far as notes, I just said just a big old heart, because this is definitely one of my top 5 pens, the medium 823. And the fine. This looks really nice here with this Compeki. It has a 0.3 millimeter line width, but it does flex quite a bit. It says lovely, has a nice line. There is a little bit of feedback to it, and it's as I said before, it's good for journaling and transcriptions. But as far as the signature nib as a pen, I'm very happy to have this. It's a typical 823, very reliable. No issues with it. It's just important to know what you want to. For me, anyway, it's important to know what I want to use this for, and this is really to color mostly than to write. This is not a pen that I would really write with, but if you like really thick lines, if you like stubs, you know, small stubs, then this is definitely a pen for you. If you like, you know, to see shading in your writing, definitely a good pen for that, especially with the Yamabudo ink. Every time I see this Yamabudo, it just makes me thirsty. I know that sounds weird, but it reminds me of fruit punch or some kind of punch. It just makes me want to drink it, but luckily I haven't done that yet. But that's really all I wanted to say about the 823 signature nib. Like I said before, it's just a typical, very reliable 823. The one thing that I don't like about it, and I know why they did it, I knew they wanted to, seem like they wanted to do the clear and the clear with the black aesthetic. But for me, I would rather if I have a demonstrator pen, I like to see the nib. So I just wish this black liner wasn't there. I think it would have been fine without that bit of black. But I definitely see what they were going for here. But for me personally, I would have preferred for this part to be all clear so I could see the nib. But just like the other 823s, very beautiful nib. I think these were one of the prettier nib, the Pilot number 15 nibs. So that's the signature nib. I hope this was helpful if you're thinking about getting a SIG nib. And again, these are the 4 of them together so you can see. But yeah, definitely my favorite, followed by this, and then these 2. But beautiful. And I think that the pen and ink combinations are pretty good for these pens. So I'll probably stick with these pen and ink combinations. I probably won't change them up since they're working. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying cool. It's very hot here, but nice. Very hot, but nice. So, and until next time, I will talk to you later. Thank you for watching.